Hey, you! Welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. With me, Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
And me, Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.fun.
And we're talking about minute 133 of Solo, a Star Wars story. Minute 133 starts off with senior mold maker Steve Court on board and ends a minute later with a thank you to John Caldwell. Why? Because he's Lucasfilm's security team member. Keeping us all safe. John Caldwell.
I like
tried
it.
to break in and steal some of those models. Caught us red-handed.
And go break Howard the Duck's guitar out of its case.
Is his guitar must be small, right?
Yeah, it's like a three-quarter, well, like a kid's guitar almost.
Like a kid's guitar.
But it says Howard on the thing. It's exciting. It's right inside the door too. So I've got a couple of Pete's, and then I got a bit.
Pete and a bit.
So what do you have anything you want to lead off with?
Why don't you do your Pete's? I'll jump in there and then we'll make it an Alex sandwich. You do the Pete's, I'll do a little bit in the middle, and then you close with your bit.
Carpenters. Why did birds suddenly appear? Now, carpenters, one of them is Peter Smith. His family must have changed kind of jobs at some point. He used to be a smith, now he's a carpenter.
He's the black sheep of the family.
Not the blacksmith of the family. He's a carpenter. But I'll also point out awesome name in the carpenter section. Because I was thinking, here's what I started to think. I was like, all right, the Pete's, granted we had a few, but I was like, there's a big spell there. There's a big chunk where there were none for a while. And I was like, you know what? I bet it's coming up. We're waiting for like the physical effects, like the carpenters, the people who get their hands on, because, you know, Pete is a you know, I mean, it's rock. It's a very physical name. It's these are people who kind of are going to be working on, you know, banging on things.
Hardworking people.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah. So here, carpenters, perfect. Peter Smith. And then also in the carpenters, I noticed Xerxes Sokolovics, and I was like, wow, that's a name. That's awesome.
How do you spell? What's the last name?
Maybe it's Sokolovics. Sokolovics.
How do you spell it?
SZOKOLOVICS. So
I assume Xerxes is traditional X.
Yeah, Xerxes, you know, the way, normal way.
Xerxes, listen to me. Drop that S from your last name and just go Z. X, having initials XZ. That's badass. Excuse me, bad butt.
His middle name hopefully is a Y.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a good Xerxes. Plasterers. There's another good physical Pete's here. Peter McCarroll. Stagehand laborers. See? Thing is, it's got, and I point out, laborers with a U. Stagehand laborers. Peter Morton. He's building the stage. Unit drivers. Got two drivers named Pete.
Huh. That must have been confusing.
Peter Hale and Peter Tebecki.
Hale.
Yeah, Hale a cab. He's a driver. Yeah, you gotta hint. And then finally, and again, this name seems familiar. Is it somebody that we've talked to, but somebody who's just listed under Lucasfilm franchise? Maybe it's just because I've talked about him at least once a year for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Pete Vilmur.
Vilmur.
Vilmur. Vilmur.
M-U-R. Interesting. Okay.
So Pete Vilmur. Vilmur. Lucasfilm franchise. That's all. He's just listed as, he's the franchise.
He is the franchise.
But yeah, I was thinking, and I'll come back to this in a minute, but I was thinking that, maybe the Pete's are heavy, and because I feel like it's not super popular as far as the name goes. I was looking up the name Paul. We'll get to that. Has really hit a huge spike in the late 60s, early 70s and then it's fallen precipitously. It's in danger of falling out of the top 200, I think.
I was going to say, I don't feel like it's as popular of a name as it may perhaps once was.
It might have.
You have to attribute that to Paul McCartney.
Rebound. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, late 60s, early 70s. Yeah. They're falling off in the after that. That's.
But I didn't find the same information for Pete. I'm assuming we got the torque curve on that one. It's like everybody's like, oh, we love the monkeys, and they named everybody, you know.
But I feel like there's always been, and now we have Pete Davidson, so that's going to be the Pete that's going to
making people name their kids after him or not name them, making them name their kids Pete or not name their kids Pete. I don't know.
I could see how it would make a certain group of people very into naming their kids Pete, and then other people, not into it. So that's a good question. Are there any other famous Petes who's like the famous Pete in like the 80s?
Oh, we got a lot.
I know Peter Scolari, but besides Peter Scolari,
Peter Cetera, Peter Tomarken, I'm forgetting there was big movie stars or something.
Pete,
I don't know.
Pete Rose was that's past.
Rose, that's kind of 70s into early 80s.
Yeah,
but Rose, he knows he's such a credit to the game.
Yeah.
Although now I'm afraid to say that now because he's in some hot water. But I was quoting, let the record show, just like when Alex was talking about Saddam Hussein, I was quoting Billy Joel, which I'm allowed to do as a native Long Islander. But those are all the Petes that I got. What do you have lined up for us here?
Well, the only credit I really wanted to point out is behind the scenes crew, which I'm like, isn't everyone part of the behind the scenes crew? But I think these were people specifically who are like filming behind the scenes to do the inevitable
like bonus material, and
and of course, those people wound up being perhaps the most like valuable because we're all curious to know what it was like behind the scenes. Yeah. So let's spill the dirt behind the scenes crew. Yeah. Get with it. But the question I wanted to tackle this minute was, why are the credits so long? Just because, obviously, watch old movies. It's like, in Godfather 1, the credits are maybe 2 minutes of the film. So, why is it now? And one thing I thought was interesting was they said part of the reason was that in the olden days when movies were on actual reels, you want to keep the credits as short as possible because you don't want to have a whole nother reel just for credits, you know what I mean? So you trim it so that it fit at the end of specific reel rather than have to start another reel. So which made sense. But now they're in this digital era, of course, it doesn't make any difference.
Well, by that same token, albums used. What? Now that it's digital, just have, put up like the end and then throw up like a QR code. Like if I went to a restaurant the other day, they told me to scan the thing to get the menu. Like I'll do that at the movies. But I do love watching credits. So
I just saw someone complaining about they're like, I'm with the boomers on this one. I want to see a menu. I don't want to be scanning QR codes when I sit down.
Somebody next to us was just like, can I have a physical menu? And they're like, I don't think I have one. And she was like, she was not old, but she was just like, come on, like, can I, you don't have something I can look at?
I wonder if that will be the kind of thing where in like 30 years, like, they used to hand you a printout of everything they had available. You're like,
well, it'll be weird. Like, like when you'll go to places and they will hand you it and it'll be like, oh, look. It'll be like a fancy
a retro kind of Jekyll and Hyde thing. Like a Johnny Rockets still do that.
Right. Yes, exactly. There you go.
I wonder if Johnny Rockets will stick around or not.
Are they? Have they? Are they still around? I don't know. They finally take off.
Well, so anyway, one of the interesting things I learned is that credits, and this solves another question we had, credits are determined by the producer of the film, and there's intense negotiations with the special effects house will be like, we want 100 credits on the thing, and then Kathleen Kennedy or whomever will say, no, you know what, give us 20 names. And that's why you wind up with like VP of marketing, because they just like, well, they gave us 50 names, so let's throw everyone in there who works for the company and, get them in the more real estate, I guess, they take up. It's almost just like the better it is for the company because, they get more for the people who sit and watch the credits. And Do you want to guess the actor who has the most acting credits according to the Internet Movie Database?
I might have known this.
Just to give you a clue, it's a name you definitely know. It's not like some obscure Chinese actor who was in a lot of stuff. It's definitely a name you're going to recognize, and you've enjoyed his work many, many, many times. He has 1,228 acting credits.
Oh boy. Then I have no idea. It's like, oh boy, it's going to be something. Is it like the Lion, the MGM Lion?
No, but you're getting close.
Okay.
And let me put it this way: it's maybe an actor who you might have heard a lot of times, but maybe not seen as many times. Although you'd probably recognize him if you saw a picture of him, because
is it Mel Blanc?
Mel Blanc, 1,228 film credits on his IMDb. So there you go, the man of 1,000 voices that all sound kind of like Bugs Bunny. So here's my other question. With these Star Wars stories, there was a lot of discussion about what the opening would be like. Will they have the crawl? Will they have will they have the same thing? And do you think we will ever see a Star Wars film that has the credits at the beginning of a film? Not obviously all digital effects and all that stuff, but the way a lot of movies do, where it's, music playing and there's a list of names and people who you should expect to see? Or do you think that's just part of is that too breaking the formula too much? Because
I don't know.
Marvel movies have opening credits, don't they?
Yeah.
Obviously James Bond does.
Right.
Most movies do. Although I don't know now.
Well, wasn't that didn't Lucas had to pay a fine to have the
Directors Guild,
to have them not listed in the opening. So,
right.
I would assume that they would want to try to do it at some point. Maybe, I don't know. Like the Indiana Jones movies have opening credits.
Well, yeah, they do, don't they? And it's not like they do the little story and then there's the credits. It's part of the opening. At least in Raiders it is.
In Raiders it is.
Oh, and same thing with in Temple of Doom. It's while she's doing her musical number.
Right.
And I don't remember when it is in.
How does that start? How does? It starts with River Phoenix, though. I think. I think there is a cold open on that one.
And then it does the credits after.
Maybe not.
We'll have to ask the Indiana Jones boys to weigh in.
Well, they're still recovering. They're in the hospital ward. They finished.
Did they finish? Are they done with
Crystal Skull? Yeah.
Oh, congratulations!
So they got no movies right now.
Wow.
I think they should do either King Solomon is Mayans or Romancing the Stone or something like that. Right?
Tales from the Gold Monkey.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure everyone has made these suggestions to them, and they're really enjoying their not having a movie to do situation.
The movie Iron Man 3, I guess as of whenever I saw an article in the New York Times about credit lengths, and I think Iron Man 3 at one point held the record with 3,700 names in the credits. But it said there was 7 minutes of credits, which is what we have in this movie. So I wonder if that has been surpassed since that article came out.
Or maybe they moved faster.
Maybe.
This is closer to 6 because we have half a minute of action. Oh no, it's closer to, you're right, because we had half a minute of action in one, then we had 2 full minutes last week, plus 4 full minutes here, and a half at the end. So yeah, it's 7, probably over 7. Interesting.
And the funny thing is, I don't think this movie, I know we've said this before, but it feels kind of low budgety to me. And so it doesn't feel like it should, but I think Iron Man 3 wasn't exactly like the Last Jedi feels like it should have 3,700 people in the credits, because I feel like that was very much more epic. But it's just also a reminder that it takes just as many, in many cases, it takes just as many people to make an average film as it does to make a great film. So, like everyone working on this movie was like doing their best and putting in their, time and everything. So
totally.
That's all I have for minute 133.
All right. Well, I kind of teased this earlier because I was thinking about the name Pete and how
as you want to do.
Seems like a physical name because it means rock, stone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, one of my favorite things to do is think about what people's names mean. And so I was like,
wait a minute. That's one of your favorite things to do?
It's never heard I enjoy doing. I years ago, I had a couple of blog entries about, it was a thing that I was going to do. I was going to do celebrity names.
Fascinating.
Like Brad Pitt means wide hole. And there was a couple of other ones that I basically tracked down to. Anyway, I was thinking about what names mean, and so that got me thinking about the cast. Now, this is the before the credits start part of the cast. I just looked at them and just their first name. So the not in the whole scroll where we're not talking about like the Imperial officer. We're not talking about Corso. We're just talking about the people who get listed once the individual one name at a time credits start, those people.
Got it. The stars.
The stars of the movie. The stars of Solo. Ladies and gentlemen, the stars of Solo. What do their first names mean?
Okay.
Alden. Let's start with Alden Ehrenreich. Alden. Comes from Old English, Ealdwine, which means there's some back and forth on it. It means basically like old friend or old one, and almost like old, which then has been imbued with the further meaning of like wise protector. It's almost like a lot of these. You have to be careful when you're researching this stuff because a lot of the like baby name sites will just be like, yeah, it means this. Like they'll throw one meaning out there with no context. They'll be like, yeah, it means hero, or like, well, there's nuances to that. But so Alden means old, and old friend, basically from the Old English for old friend, Alden.
That's where Han Solo got the idea to say we ran into some old friends.
Yeah, there you go. We ran into some Aldens in Star Wars.
Does Luke say that?
Oh yeah, it could be Luke. Anyway. I don't know. It's hard to tell. They're both wearing. Oh no, they're not both wearing Stormtrooper costumes.
No. He says, "What kept you? We ran into some old friends."
Right.
But I don't know who says which. Who says which part?
What about Woody Harrelson? Woody is short for Woodrow.
Mm-hmm.
And Woodrow, unsurprisingly, means a row of houses by the woods.
Row of houses by the woods.
Or a row. It's a row,
not a row
or
of
a
trees.
row of like a street, like a row of. Not a. I don't think it means a row of trees. So everything that I've read seems like a row, like row houses, like a line of stuff by the wood.
Okay.
And
tree adjacent.
There's some. It could also be woodrow or woodreeve, which has like an implication of like a border or a hedge or a guardian there for it. So it's like wood, like a guardian of a lot of these. Again, the naming sites tend to spin it. They're like, oh, it means like a hedge. That means like a protector of no, it's a border. It's a guardian in the terms of like the way a fence is a guardian. So yes.
Fences of the galaxy. Hedges of the galaxy.
Hedges of the galaxy. Emilia Clarke. Emilia, I hadn't put two and two together. The male version of the name Emilia is Emilio Estevez. Emilia Clarke, same name.
What does it mean?
And it's also tied to the American/English name Emily, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which goes all the way back to the Latin word Emilius, which was it basically just was the name of a powerful family, and then from there, they're like that's how far back it goes. It's just like I don't know. It's just always been a family name. But there is some. They said it could be a folk etymology, could be apocryphal, but some people think it could be related to the Latin word emulus, which means to rival or excel something, which is where the word emulate comes from that. So when you're emulating, you're kind of rivaling that, you're matching that. And that could be from the same root, but we don't know. It's just been basically like a family name. And of course, if you look it up on like baby names, it's like, it means like, beautiful flower or something like that. Strength. Most of them mean strength.
I thought I remember seeing that people were naming their child, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, Khaleesi.
Daenerys. Oh yeah, Khaleesi or Daenerys. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Before the show ended too.
I also heard, perhaps it's apocryphal, but in 2022, in all of Canada, not a single baby was named Karen.
Oh wow!
In 2022, so only in Canada. I guess people in America are still naming their kids Karen,
right?
So
because they want them to have that.
It's their right.
I want a baby to be able to talk to the manager.
Yeah, exactly. Stand up.
Stand up for your rights.
Yeah.
Donald Glover.
Donald, the wise one.
Glover. Donald, of course, Donald, remember we had this whole thing with Donald Gleason where we were saying it all kinds of funny ways, and then people let us know, like, no, like a clip of him saying, look, it's just say Donald, but without the D, basically.
Donald.
And that's because Donald spelled the way that he spells it, which is the traditional way. It's Scottish Gaelic, I think. That is the original way. Donald, the way we know it, is a bastardization of that. We threw a D on it because we could. It's like calling it, Barnes and Nobles. It's like, because that's what we do. We have to add stuff on there.
It's the American way. We're builders.
Yeah. And so Donald, as in Donald Gleason, is the original. That's the Gaelic, but that is evolved from a Proto-Celtic name, Dumno Ualos. Dumno Ualos, which means world ruler.
Dumno?
Dumno. D-U-M-N-O, I believe. Dumno.
Ooh.
Dumno Ualos. Dumno Ualos.
You don't want to have dumb. You don't want to have D-U-M as the first part of your name.
Again, I think dumb came later because it's English. Maybe we were making fun of the rulers by calling them dumb.
Yeah. And then later we add that B to it because that's what we do.
Yeah, we just do that. We got to throw it in there. Tandy Newton, Tandiwe, is in Zulu and a couple of other related languages, it means beloved. It's fairly straightforward. It's probably the easiest to find the meaning of because it was just like, means this. I'm like, oh, great.
Right.
Didn't have to go back to Proto-Celtic.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of the English names, they kind of had a long route through other languages before that they got to.
Right.
Or it's supposed to
another English, well, we would think of it as an English name, but it's common and it's another ancient name. Goes a pretty straight line going back. Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I think
Which
it's
part?
singular.
Phoebe?
Phoebe. The name Phoebe is the feminine form of Phoebus, which is as in Phoebus Apollo, which means bright and shining. And so it goes all the way back to ancient Greek. More or less unchanged as far as the sound goes. Obviously, the alphabet changed, but the sounds remain the same.
Led Zeppelin taught us that. Speaking of ancient Celtic,
here's one that takes a trip around the world. Junus Suotamo. Junus is the Finnish spelling of Jonas. And Jonas is a kind of anglicization of the Hebrew word Jonas, meaning dove. And so some people take that to mean peace. That, oh yeah, the name Jonas means peace, but no, it means dove. But even that, you can take it back even further. Comes from the Greek Ionos, which means like a sign or a portent, and that ties in with the story of the dove being. Was it the dove that they saw from Noah's Ark or something like that?
Yeah. They sent out a dove to find land.
And so that goes all the way back to ancient history there, Junus.
So no connection with Jonah.
Jonah is often it crosses paths with it, but I think it's a slightly different name most of the time.
Trivia question: do you know what the first J in J. Jonah Jameson stands for?
Oh, is it Jonas?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
No, I don't know. I assume you would know.
No, you would think.
One would think.
Maybe it stands for. That would go the other way. I was trying to bring it back to Last Crusade. I was like,
Jolly
Jehovah. But in Latin, Jehovah starts with an I.
I didn't realize I shared this kinship because Alex is of course my middle name, so I didn't realize that J. Jonah Jameson, Jonah also goes by his middle name.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but he throws the J in
Jonah.
there.
I can see why you're so cranky all the time.
Yeah, you got to start using your initial.
I do sometimes.
Oh, okay.
It sounds very pretentious.
Yeah, I know. That's why you got to use
W. Alex Robinson. That sounds I sound like I should be like a stockbroker or something.
Yeah, see, man.
That's it.
My problem, if I were to go by my middle name and use my first initial as my name, I actually did that for a lot of the beginning of my life because my middle name is Jay, and so I was PJ, but my parents would spell it out P.Jay.
Huh.
But there's no point. It's J being a letter name.
It does. I can never think of you as a PJ.
No, everybody did when I was little.
Wow.
Then eventually it was like the Infinity Stones or like the Green Lantern rings. I assumed all the Pete identities.
Got it.
Now I'm Pete, Peter, whatever you want.
Huh.
Well, speaking of bringing back full circle, here's a name that I mentioned earlier, Paul. Fallen out of favor recently.
Paul is dead, man.
And it comes another one that goes all the way back to Latin. I think from the Apostle Paul, we're all, a lot of us, named after saints, apostles, what have you.
Saints in the Bible cover a lot of territory.
The Paul comes from the Latin Paulus, meaning small or humble. Which maybe that has part of it. People started like, wait a minute, this means humble or small? No, I want, especially in America, they're like, no, give me strong protector. Give me,
give me rock.
Yeah.
I want to rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Paul Bettany. Of course, that was the last. Paul Bettany was Paul.
Isn't he a tall actor?
Tall Bettany. You're thinking of Tall Bettany. Paul Bettany is much smaller and humbler.
Got it.
Yeah. But that was it. That was my research into the names of the cast, the main cast here.
Fascinating. Fascinating for obviously the information you gave, but also knowing that you are someone who was interested in name origins. Always it's full of surprises. But I guess that will wrap up minute 133.
All right.
Well, we said it before, but we're about to go on one of our famous lengthy hiatus. What's the plural of hiatus?
I think it is hiatuses.
Hiatuses. In any case, so you can still, if you missed the sounds of our voices, you can check out our separate respective other podcasts. Me and my brother will continue to do the Godfather Part 2 minute. We are up to the Cuba scenes. Got Primo Hyman Roth. We got Cake being cut up into pieces. If you're a Godfather 2 fan, Cake. You know those are the best scenes in the movie. So you can find that at godfatherminute.com or wherever you find your podcasts, and also on the YouTube. Pete, what is the deal
on the YouTube? You're posting on YouTube?
We are posting. It's just literally it's not video of us. It's just it's just a still image. But for people who like to get their podcast via YouTube.
All right.
Pete, what is going on with ABCDTOS these days?
We're in a little bit of a hiatus. So, if you go there, you will find once a month or so, we're dropping some of the movies.
So what have any of them come out yet?
Yeah, the Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, came out in August, I believe. And then Star Trek The Motion Picture will be up next, probably in early September or some point. So they're in alphabetical order. Final Frontier Motion Picture.
5 is Final Frontier, right?
Yes.
I think that might have been the first Star Trek movie I saw in the movie theater, if you can believe it.
Wow, what were you? What took you so long? Were you all grumbly about you don't like Star Trek, you like Star Wars?
I was a casual Star Trek fan, but I think do you remember what year it came out off the top of your head? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
It's okay. I just did research for it, so I should know. I want to say 89.
That makes sense. I feel like that was when I was like home from college one summer, and I really got into watching reruns of the original series. And so I think I was in a much more Star Trek-y. That was when I was, up until then, I'd been kind of a casual fan and never really watched the shows. But I think I remember at that time really watching the shows and being like, oh, there's one in the theater. Cool. And so on. So I was enthusiastic to see it. So
I'm trying to figure out now if I saw all of the original series, the original cast movies in the theater. I believe I may have.
I definitely saw, I think, all the ones after that in the theater.
I don't think I've seen any of the ones after that in a theater, other than the Abrams ones. I don't care for the Next Generation movies.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh, no, I did see I saw 6, obviously. But after 5, you mean after 5, not after the original
5 cast. And onward, I saw in the movie theaters,
yeah.
Except for the last of the J.J. Abrams ones.
I saw all the J.J. Abrams ones in the theater, and I believe I saw all of, well, this is a conversation to be had over at ABCDTOS, but I believe I saw all of the, I would say I'll cross-reference, double-check with my mom, but she doesn't even remember. She's not going to be like, yeah.
Anyway,
yes.
So what's the next one up? Besides, after Final Frontier, what's the next
Motion
one?
Picture.
Motion Picture.
So F to M.
We just saw that at Star Trek in Mission Chicago.
It's going to be the interesting because it's going to be the first one. You and I have gotten to talk about a couple of movies that we saw together, but this is going to be the first one that ABCDTOS gets to talk about that we all saw together in a shared experience like that. So.
Nice. Fun.
Yeah.
All right, so ABCDTOS, The Godfather Minute, check those out, and check us out tomorrow for the penultimate solo Star Wars Minute.
Penultimate solo.